Good morning everyone. In this video I'm going to be analysing the live price action for EU and DXY to see what opportunities may be available today. You're going to see my strategy and my analysis, so if you're interested in those then please stick around. Alright, starting off on the daily, fresh week. What's the daily showing us? Well, Friday we closed out as a bearish candle. We had this long wick at the bottom here from clearly where we must have taken some sell side liquidity and closed up a bit higher, pulled back somewhat from this bearish momentum, right? And of course we closed out bullish on DXY. Now, if we look closer at DXY, we can see we swept above this high here. So that's some buy side liquidity, which of course may be responsible for that pullback that we had to close the day. So a good source of buy side liquidity has been swept on DXY on Friday ending last week, and I believe we also, yes, we've swept below this low here, which will be a bit more clear on a lower time frame for sell side liquidity on EU as well. So what direction is price going to go today? Just from that analysis on the daily, we may favor some sort of a bullish pullback in my opinion, but we'll see more on the lower time frame. In terms of previous daily highs and lows, those are still intact on both, as well as obviously the weekly lows and highs for buy side and sell side liquidity. So let's go down to the 4 hour and see what that shows us. So just starting off here on the 4 hour zoomed out for the moment, so we can see the sell side liquidity taken below this previous 4 hour low here had been swept, and also this previous 4 hour high here has also been swept through on Friday. I've left that 4 hour order block there just because we still closed within it. But either way, what's more important is the buy side liquidity taken here, sell side liquidity taken here. We are in a bearish leg, we are in a discount, we have a bullish leg here, we are in a premium. That may cause some sort of bullish pullback towards a premium, or at least, you know, to fill maybe this imbalance left behind here. All right, so I think there's a good cause to lean towards a bias of longs because we are in this discount, like I said, and we have taken some previous higher time frame sell side and buy side liquidity. Now we are bearish in trend, right? So that is counter trend. There's nothing to say price won't just continue moving from a discount, but to stay on the side of liquidity, that would be where my bias is taking me currently. If price wants to come for this low, which would probably be a bit more of a major low there, then I would apply the same logic from there as well, right? So yeah, for the time being, sell side liquidity was taken most recently on a higher time frame on EU, buy side on DXY. Therefore, that gives me the logic to lean towards a long bias, at least for today or the London session. We have imbalances as draw on prices above as well, more into the premium. So yeah, I think that looks good for that. We have the same imbalances, of course, on DXY, just to point that out. So I think the 4 hours clear. I think the bias that is starting to create is clear for the time being. Let's go down to 1 hour, see if that agrees. So now we're on the 1 hour. This is our bearish 4 hour leg. Internally, there may be a bit of debate here, which I've drawn out on the 1 hour because we swept some internal buy side liquidity here and then broke down. Possibility we can work within this leg as an internal 1 hour leg, right? So I've just drawn that out as something to consider because internally within the 4 hour bearish leg, this 1 hour leg here, you know, has its premium order block and we're in a discount of it, and the premium could be around this area. Now that's just because I define a leg as where liquidity was swept as a high and then broke down, creating a new low. So this high here swept liquidity, then broke this low, creating a new low. Overall, for the session and for the daily direction, it's not super important, but it's definitely something to consider because at the moment we are still in a discount of either leg either way. We have still taken the sell side liquidity. And then of course, inversely on DXY, we've already taken that buy side liquidity and we are in a premium. We may see some resistance at that point, right? We may not pull into that premium of the 4 hour leg initially. So anyway, into today's price action, you can see what I've drawn out here is this 1 hour imbalance. Now, into London open, we see we've got our, you know, Asia overnight range from the market open, and we pulled down now, had some bearish momentum, filled this 1 hour imbalance. And you can see we closed out the previous hour as some sort of like low test doji. We've rejected this imbalance area here down in this discount and obviously closed off as like a sell side liquidity mitigation, right? Which may sponsor a move higher. So that goes with the bias that I'm leaning towards. We're in a discount. high time frame sell side liquidity and buy side liquidity on DXY. DXY is also pretty much filled the same imbalance, right? These below lows, so sell side liquidity is mitigated here, and we could go towards a premium, at least of this 1 hour leg, and towards the discount of DXY. So I think the 1 hour is agreeing with the bias at this point at least. This was a nice close, you know, to possibly agree with that bias. We'll see how price continues and keeps going. Obviously we've taken some internal buy side liquidity here, so we could be wrong and it could continue downwards, but that's fine. So we're in a discount, higher time frame confluences with sell side liquidity. We've mitigated a POY today, this morning, which is great. We've done the same on DXY, and we've got our price draws above, right, towards that premium. So I think that looks good. Having my buyers now to go long, and we'll see now. Let's go down to lower time frame, what opportunities we could have for today. So here on the M15, we can see our Friday closeout into the, you know, Sunday opening range here. Created a nice range. Price clearly got momentum at the end of Asia into Frankfurt, where we closed that imbalance, and we pulled back somewhat correctively towards this POY area here, the Asia midline. Now we've initially rejected that, so at the moment you could say yes, we have this structure breakdown here and a pullback. This could play out. We could hold this area and price could continue downwards, right? So there's no denying that at the moment, but this is just the lower time frame picture, so I'm careful to not get too caught up in a lower time frame strategy which is against the higher time frame biases, liquidity and structure, right? Because on the 1 hour we've rejected a POI and we've closed out, you know, as a low test. So with the Asia cycle where we've taken sell side liquidity, we could possibly head up to the other side at least to take the buy side liquidity from this area as well. So we'll wait to see what happens. If Asia holds and breaks down, we could consider those shorts and see where price goes. So in order to go with my bias, right now the lower time frame isn't great, I don't believe, for entering in any longs for me personally. There's some structure that I think I need to see here on the lower time frame in order for me to target a premium and some buy side liquidity maybe at these highs. So what would I need to see? Let's draw something out. Price could form some sort of base here, some sort of support in this area. If price does something like this, breaks above these highs, you know, gets some momentum from this area, breaks above these highs as a break of structure, and then we get some sort of corrective pullback now, back down to our lower time frame POI, order blocking imbalance, to then continue bullish. Okay, this would be something that I'd be looking for. Now this might happen just slightly different. We may pull down slightly here and then do the break of structure around this area and then have that. Sorry to confuse, but we could have something like that, right? Something where price just breaks that structure internally here, holding that low. But just to stick with this drawing here, we could break above, have a break of structure, leaving behind an order block, right, around this area. Order blocking imbalance, break of structure around here. Possible inducement from the pullback here. Entry below the daily open. Stop loss just below the low. It'd be a bit harder because we have this sort of trend line area here, so it might be a 5-minute entry. Stop loss just below the low to go bullish, right? The way this is forming here currently is obviously, you know, a negative, but once we break these highs, of course that would be buy side liquidity taken, so it'd be great to get a good corrective pullback back down to this area to look like we want to still continue upward for some buy side liquidity. Yeah, so my only issue is how this lower time frame has formed. At the moment it looks like it wants to go short, even though the higher time frame has led me towards a bullish bias. But as I said, that's against trend, so the trend may just be continuing, and where I want to go long from a discount may not happen. It may just continue going short. So I think what I would personally want to see to go short is for it to continue this bearish bias that it's having, where it's respecting Asia highs. It's mitigated this POY here with this imbalance, right, after this pullback. We've also got the same lower time frame order block here that's been mitigated. If price is to continue having that break of structure here now, and then we pull back to the possible order block or something forming around its area, we may be able to just continue with the trend heading for that high time frame week low, right? Because if this is the lower high, this becomes a week low on the higher time frame for that trend to continue. So we may see something along these lines here. I would obviously prefer the longs because of the higher time frame sell side liquidity that was recently taken and that we're in a discount. So I would be patient, but it's quite possible we get those continuations of this trend here with our possible inducement around this area just below our order block imbalance to go short from, stop loss just above wherever a high may form. It may be difficult to see clearly in this area, but I don't want to get too sucked into the short because it's with trend, but I think it's too focused on what this lower time frame price action is doing. So I think I'm just going to be quite patient and possibly wait to see where price goes today, preferring the longs because I think that makes sense in terms of liquidity and what I've seen on the higher time frame and this discount. So I hope my reasoning is clear. I hope you're getting value from that. Any questions, let me know in the comments. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon.